Hey guys, Aries here. So I've been on the forums a lot lately, and I've seen a lot of people posting, just the usual, why can't I climb? I feel like I'm a much better player than where I'm actually currently placed on the ladder. I always get people who, are either feeders, trolls, AFKers, or are generally not as good as I am, and they just end up feeding, and we end up throwing the mid game. What can I do to win more of my games, or the ladder system's broken because I keep getting paired with these people, just a lot of different things like that, and I felt like should probably make a video to address some of those things. So, and specifically, I think I'm just going to make this video be something like how to carry as a top laner. Now, this isn't to address, really, this isn't to say there's not a lot of merit to what certain players are saying when it comes to things like that. But most of the time, you are in whatever ELO or MMR, ladder bracket, whatever you want to call it, you are in whichever one you pretty much belong in. So, if you're in bronze, it's not to say you are a bronze player. It's to say in every game you have played up until this point, you have played on average at the skill level of a bronze player. Now, that doesn't mean every game you play from this point and on, you are playing as a bronze player. It's saying every game you have played as a bronze player, or at a bronze level. Now, that's also not to say every single game you play is played at a bronze level. You can have some games where you play extremely well and some games that you play extremely poorly. Now, that's also what I want to bring up next, where it's all consistency. So, if you play consistently, you can check what are the, where are your problem areas, that these things that occur every single game. If every game you can get 60 CS at 10 minutes, well, that's fine. But if every silver player is getting 80 CS at 10 minutes, or even 70 CS at 10 minutes, well, yes, you're still getting 60 CS at 10 minutes. It's not to say that's not good, but it's not at a point that will allow you to climb. Likewise, if you're trying to get to gold, and maybe gold ADCs are able to get 80 CS at 10 minutes, and you're only getting 70 CS at 10 minutes, well, in terms of CS alone, you are not playing at a gold level, so no, you're not going to climb to gold. And that's also kind of branching off a little bit. To get to gold, it's not to say you have to play at a gold level. You have to play slightly better than a gold player to get to gold. You have to play slightly better than a silver player to get to silver. Because, to win your promos as a silver, bronze 1 to silver 5, you're playing against silver players. If you're not able to play better than them, even 50% of the time, or even 20% of the time, you're not going to win your series. So you have to be slightly better than the players at the ELO you're trying to climb to be able to climb to that ELO. If you're playing at a bronze level, you're going to stagnate at a bronze level. If you want to play at a silver level, you're going to stay around silver 3. You're not going to climb too much because when you get to silver 2, silver 1, you're already playing against some of these gold players. So if you want to stay around silver 1, you have to play at a gold level or slightly better than a gold player, like 10% of the time. If you want to get to gold, you have to play better than a gold player most of the time. And that's just how climbing works. So yeah, so I'm just going to call this how to carry, how to carry games as a top laner, because it is fairly easy to carry games as a top laner. Now, one way that you can do this is play split push heavy champions. So I'm just going to put that out. So, I'm going to use a bulleted list, and we'll just go split push. So I'm just going to check if that, yeah, okay, so it does. So yeah, so split pushing is a very effective way to gain initiative in terms of map pressure. So, okay, then under here, we're going to go, we'll go suitable split push champs. So we'll go suitable SP champs. So really, that can be a lot of your in-meta top laners. Specifically, we see a lot of, Shyvana can be a fairly formidable split pusher, even though she has very good team fight. I'm going to put it down there because she is fairly safe to split push because of her ultimate. Obviously, there's Jax, there's Tryndamere, there's Udyr, there's Warwick. You can even go Lee Sin top lane if you want. I don't have LoL open right now, so I can't actually see summoners. But other common split pushers I see basically revolve around that. Gnar is a pretty strong split pusher as long as it's mini Gnar. So you're going to have to be very careful with that. Fiora. And so basically when you're looking for split push champs, you want safe slash mobile. You want strong duelists. And you can't even have and that's to mean like strong fighters, strong 1v1, strong 1v2, and you want some way of taking down a tower fairly quickly. So able to kill towers fast. So one that I actually forgot is top lane Vayne. So you can even go Vayne top and you can go Twitch top. And Twitch top is something we saw Hayam Gosu doing like a long time ago. And Vayne top, that's been around for a while. And again, they're very strong split pushers. They're able to take a tower relatively fast. Their 1v1 is pretty strong. And Twitch and Vayne, they are fairly mobile. Vayne not so much, but Twitch, yeah, because of their stealth. Fiora is not the most mobile. She does have her little dash gap close, but she's an extremely strong duelist, strongest duelist in the game because of her passive, the regen off of that, and her ultimate. One I forgot to put down is Master Yi. Not Mastery, Master Yi. So again, they're champions who are able to split push, duel. They basically win any 1v1 they're thrown into, unless they're, playing someone else on this list. And, yeah, so that's kind of what you want to look for. There's also, champions like Zed, Aurelia. So, Ryze can be a split pusher because of teleport, but he can't really kill a tower extremely fast. But, he can kill he can basically kill anyone 1v1. There's also Kayle. To a degree, you can go Lulu top. But yeah, just anyone who falls into that criteria can be a split pusher. Now, something I would recommend is taking Ignite over Teleport. And what that's going to allow you to do is assert lane dominance. Take the summoner that allows you to win your lane, because you're going to be split pushing. To be able to split push, you want to get some sort of edge in your laning phase. So if you're Udyr top, make sure, I'm also going to add Nasus to this list. If you're Udyr top, make sure you go like 4-0 out of laning phase and just kill your laning opponent over and over and over again. And then that forces your laning opponent to get jungle assistance or mid lane assistance, and he's not able to win, and he just can't do anything to you. So I'm going to go from the reference frame of the blue side top laner, and say, we're killing, we're fighting, whatever. We take Ignite, we go for a level 1 all-in, or level 2 all-in, we get an early damage spike. Okay, so I'm going to go, assume that it's just like bare bones, a newer player, a weaker player, someone who doesn't really understand how the game works entirely. So what you're going to do is right away at the beginning of the game, before 1 minute, you're going to ward around top side. So you're going to either ward here, or you're going to ward around here, so that your blue buff is safe. Or your jungler's blue buff is safe. Then what you're going to do, you don't want to be warding too much past 1 minute, because you're going to place a ward in the tri-brush on blue side, or around the jungle entrance over here to their blue side jungle as red side around 3 minutes. Just after 3 minutes, around 3 minutes 20 seconds at the absolute latest, but try and get that ward down around 3 minutes. So I'm just going to put this as 3M ward. Wow, that's a really bad color. There you go, so that's your 3 minute ward. And you're going to want to get that down almost every single game you play, because most of the time the enemy jungler is going to start bottom half buff, so either at his blue side red buff or red side blue buff. Go get another camp, either wraiths or wolves, and then they're going to take the second buff, and then they're going to either gank mid or they're going to gank top. And to determine who they're going to gank, look at your mid laner. If you're blue side and your mid laner's like up here, it's very favorable for the enemy jungler to be able to loop around this way, or even loop around this way, and end up ganking and burning a flash from the mid laner. So then if it's very favorable, or there's a lot of incentive for the enemy jungler to gank your mid laner, there wouldn't be as much incentive to gank you. So just kind of play it by ear. But then also, if you notice that your mid laner is getting pushed in, there's no way that the enemy jungler is able to kind of run around and get a summoner burnt here. So most often than not, they're going to come this way and try and gank you. So most of the time, because of that, if you see that your mid laner's pushed back, it's not going to make a lot of sense for the enemy jungler to loop around this way. So placing a ward as blue side around here doesn't make a lot of sense because the enemy jungler is not going to run through it. So what they're going to do is they're going to run around this way, either just run straight through like that, or they're going to loop around and do a lane gank, or they'll go get their golems and then run like that, or run through this way. So regardless, there's going to be activity either around the tri-brush or around this brush up here. But since you have minions that are able to be around this area, this area is relatively safe. You just need to worry about the tri-brush. So you would want a ward around there, and that's going to be the only ward you're going to have to place around 3 minutes that's going to keep you safe. So, yeah, that's fine. So, we're assuming this is the first wave. The very first wave that approaches comes like this. The enemy wave comes about here, and they meet in the middle. A little bit further down than that. So they're going to meet like that. As any solo laner, assuming you don't have Zilean on your team or anything like that, it's going to take 7 minions to get to level 2. So I'm just going to write that down just somewhere at the top. So 7 minions. 7 minions equals level 2. And now this is very important. This is extremely important. So what you're going to do is you're going to try and push the first wave as fast as possible. And what that's going to do is, oh, I guess I can't remove that. Yeah, okay, so what that's going to do is if you push the first wave, your minions are going to be closer to his tower than his minions will be to your tower by the time the second wave approaches. What that means is maybe the second wave is going to freeze around here. What this means is since minions approach and they leave, it's symmetrical, or symmetric, whatever, you know that your minions are going to be here on the second wave by the time his minions are going to be here. That means you'll have access to his second wave of minions when they're here, but he won't have access to your second wave of minions because they're back here. So then you'll have your first wave freezing against his second wave, and he doesn't have access to that 7th minion. You'll have access to that 7th minion like right there. So then you're able to kill it. You know that you'll hit level 2 before him. If you hit level 2 before him, you get the stats that the level gives you, and you get your second ability. What you can do at this point is you can run into him. If you run into him, you're level 2, he's level 1, he has to run back to his tower. That means if the minions are frozen here and you just leveled up, you can run into him, it forces him back, and you can freeze the lane while you're standing around here. Right when it hits around 3 minutes, you can run down and place this ward perfectly safe to make it so that his jungler can't actually come and gank you around this way. You can just run back. And what this does is if you're frozen up here and you're standing around here right in front of tower range, he's forced back to tower, and he does not have access to any of these minions over here, which means you have complete control over this lane until the jungler comes. What this also does is forces their jungler to come top, or else you're just going to have such a crazy lead over their top laner. Now, if for whatever reason you just hit level 2 before he hits level 2 and it's still frozen somewhere back here, what you can do is pretty much the same thing but fight him. And if you have Ignite and he has Teleport, fight him and use your Ignite, even if it's not going to kill him. Ignite him right away and all in him. Just all in him with your 2 abilities. He'll have 1 ability, he'll have to go back. If you go into him, use both your abilities and your Ignite and start auto-attacking him afterwards, he's probably going to flash. Don't flash after him, just let him flash, and he's going to be really low. That's going to force him out of lane or to burn all of his potions. If he started, Cloth 5, he's going to have to use most of his potions. If he went, Doran Shield, he's going to have to use his potion. And most of the time, he'll have to recall. So what that recall is going to do is it's going to take him 10 seconds to channel the recall plus 45 seconds to run back into lane because it's been about a wave and a half. He doesn't have enough gold to get boots yet. So it's going to take him 45 seconds plus 10, so it's going to take him around 50 to 55 seconds to get back into lane. That's another 2 waves that you have. That means you're hitting level 4 when he's still level 2. Maybe he didn't even hit level 2 yet. You're level 3, he's level 1. So you can just kind of keep repeating this and keep zoning him out by standing in front of his minions and forcing him back to his tower. So that's going to give you a crazy CS lead and a crazy gold lead and experience lead that he can't really address without jungler assistance. And that's just by getting the level 2 spike. Now, you can also delay this to a level 4 spike, which is something we saw Faker do mid lane as Riven. He would play Riven into Ziggs, get a level 4 spike, and then right when he hits level 4, he'll go into Ziggs, and then burn his ignite and force his Ziggs back. Even if he doesn't get the kill, he knows he's forced them out of lane, which allows him to get an experience boost, or a little bit of an experience advantage, and hit level 6 before his opponent. And then you can hit level 6 on a level 6 spike, so that they're level 5, you're level 6. Maybe you hit level 6 and your ignite comes off cooldown, because it took 3 to 3.5 minutes to hit level 6 from that level 2 spike that you just hit. So now you're level 6, they're level 5, you have your ignite, you can kill them. You kill them, that's fine, you keep this tower up. If you have such a dominant lead in your lane, they can't stay in lane. If they have a 20% CS deficit, what's 20% at, say, it's 6 minutes. You're at 40 CS, they're at 20 CS. So, you have a 50% CS lead. Now, what if you maintain a 50% CS lead and now it's 10 minutes? What if you're at 100 CS, they're at 50 CS? So 20 to 40, they're only 20 CS down, but now it's 50 to 100, they're 50 CS down. Now if you keep that tower up to 20 minutes, and now you have 200 farm, and it's still a 50 CS lead, you've grown that 50% CS lead, you've grown that 50 CS difference into 100 CS difference. So it's roughly 20 CS equals 1 kill in terms of gold, so now you have 5 effective kills up on them. Even if you haven't killed them yet, you're effectively 5 kills up on them. And then now maybe you can all-in them. You'll be like 4 levels up on them, and now you can take this tower. So you take this tower, and that forces, say it's not like 20 minutes yet, say you take the tower at 10 minutes and you have 3 kills on them, or 3 kills worth of golden experience on them. So now you take this tower, and there's no way that they can actually stop you from taking this tower, because you're just so far ahead. What this does is it forces their jungler up. And if it forces their jungler to have to address this tower, because most of the time if they see that top lane's winning, they're going to avoid top lane and gank the other lanes to try and get mid lane or bot lane as fed as you are getting top. So what you'll want to do is push it hard enough, like just you push it even harder, so that they have to send someone up here, or else they're going to lose this tower. So then what you're going to do is get some more wards. I'm actually going to put ward placements in red. So you're going to keep this warded throughout the entire game, because you're so far ahead. If you have all this crazy CS, you have enough money to get your core and wards. So you're going to want to ward here, and then at the very least, ward this brush. If you feel you're comfortable enough, ward this brush, or ward this brush. And that's going to completely defend you from anything. Now, if your mid laner is also winning, and your mid laner is pushed up to about here throughout the entire game, you don't need to ward this. What you can do instead is ward here, and ward here. And now, as you can see, if they decide to go like that, or if they decide to run anywhere from mid to top lane, except for right here, but that's why we throw in the condition that mid lane has to be winning. You'll see wherever they move around. If mid lane is not winning, that's why I would say ward the tri-brush and then ward behind their red. And what this is going to do is it's going to tell you, are they coming for me? Because either they're coming through here, or they're looping around this way. You will see them before they get to you. And that defends this area. Basically, this plays back. All of this would be defended with those 2 wards. The only thing it wouldn't be defended from is if they loop around like this and go for a lane gank. But then, assuming you're pushing up this far, your minions will be able to do that and grant you that vision by yourself, or by themselves. But yeah, so place wards in these 2 spots, and then keep pushing this tower. Assuming still you have this crazy gold lead and CS lead that you gain from the level 2 spike, you'll be able to keep pushing this, and you'll draw their jungler up. So if you're someone like Jax, if you're someone like Udyr, and you're building properly, which if you have any building skilling or itemization issues or questions, concerns, send me a message, I can answer all of them. Assuming you're building properly, you'll be able to 1v2 them. Or even if you don't 1v2 them, you draw their jungler up and you run back. You just run back, because it wastes their jungler's time. If their jungler has to be top to make sure that you don't take this tower, their jungler can't be bot side, making sure that you don't take the dragon. And then this would be something that you're typing to your team. Before you do all this pushing, if you take this tower extremely fast, tell them, I'm staying top if you see the enemy jungler top lane take dragon. And just keep taking dragon, because dragon's worth a tower, worth a little bit more than the tower as the game goes on. So, by staying top lane like this, you're not just staying top lane, you're opening the map up to the rest of your team. So then say, like, if I draw their mid laner up here with their jungler, so say they keep sending the jungler up here and you're Jax and you're super far ahead and you keep 1v2ing them and killing both of them, they'll have to send 3 people up there. So now you take this tower and you're like 8 kills up on them. And now you can 1v2 easily. So you keep pushing. Now you're taking this tower. This is your next objective. So now they'll have to send 3 people for you or 4 people for you. So then say, if I draw 3 people here, the 4 of you go and you push bottom. So what you're going to do is you're going to ward a little bit more aggressively. You're going to want to try and get this warded. You're want to try and get this warded. Because this, you're getting closer to their base, so you're going to want to ward a little bit closer to their base. You don't need this warded anymore because you're not pushing anything. It's going to be way too... it's going to take way too much time for them to have to run around like this just to prevent you from pushing the inhibitor tower like that. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense for them. They'll take the shorter route, which is around there, or something like that. So again, just ward here and ward there as you're pushing the inhib tower. And then what that's going to do is it's going to keep you safe. So if you see 3 or 4 people running for you, if you're Jax, you can place a ward down behind you, Q to it, and kind of gap close like that, and then run away. So you're making 4 people waste their time for 1 person. But they have to do that because you have such a lead that you're able to win the game on your own. And then since there are 4 people top, there's only 5 people on the enemy team. There can only be 1 other person anywhere else on the map for them. And you tell your team to avoid top lane. That way, the 4 people on your team can push bottom. Since there are 4 people top, there's only 1 person that would ever be able to defend this. Which means, hopefully, your team is able to 4v1, or they're able to dive, or they're able to take this tower and force that last person back. So now you're turning your top lane pressure into gold for the rest of your team on the bottom half of the map. So then you're able to push this, draw people up, and then they'll be able to push this, which will draw people down, which would allow you to keep pushing this inhibitor. And then you just tell them, okay, bottom's done, that's fine, now push mid. And then they keep rinsing and repeating. And then, this also pisses off your opponent. So it's not just the physical statistics, sort of, this is the amount of gold that you're getting. It's also the psychological effect where it's just getting in their head, and if they break, if they go on tilt, you might have, people just running into you dying because it's, it's bronze, it's silver. People don't have very high EQs. You'll break them and they'll just start feeding. And this is really, really good for you because it'll help you win the game. And then, you take the inhibitor, you're at a point where you can just end up winning the game. After you take the inhibitor, maybe now you can start grouping with your team. You take the inhibitor, you group as 5, you take Baron, you group as 5, you push mid, and you just take the second inhib and you win the game. And that's really all there is to it as a top laner. Just work on getting really good level 2 spikes, level 4 spikes, level 6 spikes with Ignite. If you're going on teleport plays, I can make another video for that on how to do that. If you're playing a tank, I can do more videos for that. But easiest way to climb as a top laner is to play a very strong duelist, win extremely early on in the game, and just keep snowballing, keep pushing top, drawing people up there, staying alive, and that's the biggest thing. You want to stay alive while you're doing this. If you die, as soon as you die and they get shut down gold, or if you die and they end up pushing and taking this tower, you can't keep doing that. As soon as you die, you basically relieve all pressure from top lane, and you've basically thrown the game. So before you try doing this in ranked, go into normals until you're able to get that level 2 first blood extremely consistently, and then just get used to carrying games like this before you take it into ranked. And yeah, that's all I really wanted to touch on. If you want to see more of these videos, let me know in the comments. Feel free to subscribe, like the video, check out the page. I have coaching rates on my Facebook page. If you go to the About and then click on my bio, everything's posted there. If you have any additional questions or concerns, send me a message. And yeah, thanks for watching.